All right, we are live. Good evening, everybody. Today we will be reviewing Lovecraft Country, all of the episodes. We will be doing them all here today. Just to kind of spoil it for those who don't want to watch what will probably be a two and a half hour review. Um, Overall, it started out strong, and then episode after episode, everything got worse. The plot, the dialogue, the acting, like it started out so good, and I was so hooked, but then it went downhill fast, like really fast. Like the stock market just crashed fast. Also, I believe every character is naked at some point, which isn't necessarily bad, but I was like, damn, everybody. Maybe instead of having like 75 sex scenes, they could have, I don't know, use that time for character development or plot development or acting classes. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play my intro and we can get straight into it. If one of my moderators can pin that link, hello Themis, hello Vitamin. I hope you guys did the homework. Because what I'm not about to do is explain every episode. Let me pull up my slideshow. I have a little slideshow here. What? I haven't even hated yet. I haven't even hated yet. If y'all think this was the hate, I think I was being very generous. This was a very poor production, in my opinion. It was extremely bad. If you've watched it, you would know. If you read the Wikipedia synopsis, you might say, "Oh, this looks pretty good." But if you actually watch it, no. That's what I heard. It was good, then got progressively bad. Yes, ignoring this comment. Hey Mara, hey Lantonette. It won't let me pin. It's fine. I'll do. What do I have mods for if they can't pin? I need the moderators to answer that question. um, so I have a little thing here, and I think what I will do first is I will go through. Hello, Olivia. The cast I want to shortly go through, and then we can go through episode by episode, and then I can give what I thought were major, really major flaws with the entire. No, Olivia, we have a problem now because I can't believe I even put that dusty comment on screen. Ill. Um, First, I want to go through the cast. Let me make this big. I want to put myself down here. And the first person, of course, is Atticus. Atticus is a terrible character, not really likable, not really relatable. And I don't know who taught this man how to act. They did not teach him well. They did not teach him well. I don't know if you guys have ever seen any action movie like Rambo or that what is it called, Parody, that the Boondocks made of 50 Cent trying to save a plane from crashing, and it's like, we got to get out of here before everything explodes. Grab my hand, I'm gonna bust this out. Like it is. I don't know who taught this man how to act. It just seems so bad to me. Latita Letty Lewis, again, unlikable character. I don't think she was a bad actor. They were tearing him up on Twitter. I hope so. No, he was not a good actor. No, I don't think she was a bad actor. I think her character was unlikable, and it was difficult for me to separate these things. So, yeah. Hippolyta, amazing actor, amazing character, loved it. Everything about it was great. This was like one of the only characters who was not extremely unlikable. Literally, it's only one or two. Montrose, this man must have he did an excellent job acting, because I hated this man the entire series. Like I don't even like having his picture on my screen. This man did an excellent job. And apparently he's a pioneer as far as portraying gay people as early as 2001, which is like unheard of for that time. So oh, he's gone. I didn't know that. Okay, well, I don't know if I hated his acting or him. I think I just hated his character. So Ruby, again, another gem. Amazing actor. Like, she deserved more accolade. Her character, I wish, would have been fleshed out much, much more than it was. I wish her character was given more grace than it was. She did an amazing job. Like this, she had me immersed in the story the whole time, and her character was likable, which I feel like if you want me to watch the show and identify with the show and relate to it, you will want to make the characters likable. But I guess Lovecraft Country don't feel that way. So Gi, another likable character to me. I really liked her arc. I liked her character, and I liked her acting. Her episode was one of the only good episodes to me. Diana, again, another good actor. I think she did an amazing job. I liked her character too. No problems here. Christina. So this is an interesting one because I don't like her character, obviously, and her acting. And she plays the role of a pompous white girl, which is what she is here. So, I mean, she did a good job of that. As far as her character, I'm interested in how I feel about this character because she's supposed to be the villain, but she doesn't generally do anything bad. Like the characters I've been showing so far, like Atticus and Montrose and Letty, are literally the main three characters, and they are so unlikable to me the entire time. But Christina don't do anything but come in and cause chaos on the last episode. Outside of that, she don't really antagonize them too much. George, he didn't do much. He had one episode in his two. One episode in his first episode was good. Second episode, I think he died at the end. And he was not a problematic person during his character's time alive. And his acting it seemed over the top, like magical Negro, but he was in this universe the person who writes the Green Book or something like that. So whatever. Apparently y'all disagree with me. Apparently y'all disagree. What? What? See, what y'all doing is trolling. What y'all doing is trolling. No, I was not expecting this man to die. Well, let's save that for when we talk about the episodes. William, is it fair to call this man a character? His character seemed all right in the first episode. I was a little suspicious because of how he was approaching Ruby, and I thought, oh no, White Zaddy's gonna come in and be the White Devil like he does. But then he's just like, no, everything's normal until he turns into the person who I would not spoil. Hillary, again, we can't really call her a character, can we? So let's just move past her. Oh, you know what? But we can talk about their actors. I think their actors did a good job of playing the type of over-the-top job that they were doing. Like, here's this white man coming in to give you this lavish lifestyle in exchange for sex. I think he played that part well. And Hillary plays the part well of a black woman in a white woman's body. She is transracial, and I will not accept anyone who says that this is not a beautiful black queen. Seamus Lancaster, hated his character. His actor did a good job because I hated his character, and I don't even like looking at him right here. Samuel Braithwaite, again, he only played one episode. During that episode, didn't really like him. His acting, I didn't like his acting either. It was so it's some of the acting seems so over the top to me from everybody generally, even the ones I said acted good. Some of it just seems so over the top, like he come out the shadows. Good evening. Today I will be telling you about, like, oh, come on, relax, chill. But that's how they wrote the story. So maybe they're just reading the script how the script is meant to be read. And maybe the script said act bad and they did it. Dora, her character didn't really have a lot of development. She was kind of just there to move the plot along. Later in the episodes, I don't think she did a bad job. I think she barely even spoke, so she was just sitting there. Who cares? Eustace, again, amazing acting because I hated this man. Look, these white folk can act. One thing these men can do is portray racist sheriff. His character provided this type of extreme. They were scarier than the monsters were. Like, it was watching these police officers chase these people out of town and ramming their car and going to the woods to hang them. Like, woo. Yes, I do this sometimes. We do a little trolling here, a little movie reviews, and sometimes we're just dusty in general. We're also giving an education tutorial. Someone asked me for a GED tutorial. I will be giving that. Um, in Tree, I didn't want to include Tree because he's not a major actor, but this man just disgusted me so much. His acting was so good because his character was disgusting and he played a disgusting character very good. Don't nobody like this man, his character, or the actor. I don't even. Is this a B-list? Who is this? Don't care. Yahima, I don't know that I can judge her acting because she was speaking in a foreign language, so I don't know how to read the mannerisms in word and language as well as I would English actors. I did like the character, and it was interesting for them to have this type of transsexual character in the movie, and then they kill her off. And wow, like what a waste. Um, so the first episode was Sundown. Would you guys like me to do a quick run through of each episode, or would you like to get straight to the kind of thoughts? You know what? Let's do a quick run through. I'll just read the Wikipedia. After arriving in Chicago, Korean War veteran Atticus Freeman discovers a letter from his missing father, Montrose, inviting him to discover his family legacy in Ardham, Massachusetts. Atticus, his uncle George, who writes this type of green book type of black travel guide, and his friend Letty set off on a road trip to Devon County, Massachusetts. And this group of murderous white men chase them out of the first town they stop in, but they escape because the unknown white woman at the time somehow causes this mob's car to flip over. And let me pause and say the scene where the car flip over is like completely unrealistic. I was like, that car did not hit the car. And then they showed it again in the next episode, and I was like, it did not hit that car. Why would you put this really extremely bad shot in the movie and highlight it and show it multiple times? Don't know. But then we find out she's magic, so maybe that. Soon after, they encounter a racist sheriff of Devon County, Eustace Hunt, who is eager to enforce the county's sundown law. If you guys don't know what a sundown law is, if you are a black person in this town after sundown, they will hang you. That's a bastardization of it, but it is what it is. Just after sunset, the sheriff's deputies force the travelers into the woods with the intent to lynch them, but the entire group is attacked by vicious monsters called Shoggoths. Atticus, George, and Letty fight their way out. While the police officers perish, the Shoggoths are called away by a whistle. In the morning, the trio stumbles out of the woods and find this enormous mansion, and they're welcomed by a mysterious white man, William, who greets them warmly. Wait, was this William the same William all the way in? So it was Christina? Hold up. Wait a minute. Was that the same William? Regarding my thoughts on episode 1, every scene with the racist cops again was more nerve-wracking than the actual monsters in the episode. This show just reminded me that as a black man, if time travel is possible, I can never go back in time, only forward. Jackie Robinson attacked Cthulhu in this episode, which is always nice to have in any show. I encourage more Jackie Robinson versus alien monsters in any form of media ever. I was bothered by the pacing, which is a common theme in each episode. The pacing is awful. Like how Letty joins the crew. Like it just happens. Why? Don't know. When? Don't know. Does the plot explain it? No, not really. She's just there. So what it is. Episode 2, Whitey's on the Moon. So William explains that the mansion is Ardham Lodge, and it's designed by Titus. Oh, you know what, guys? For episode 1, I think William is alive for this episode, but he eventually dies, and his body being resurrected and used by Christina at that point. So that's what I think happened. William explains the mansion is Ardham Lodge, designed by Titus Braithwaite, a slave trader and the founder of an occult secret society of wizards called the Sons of Adam. And George realizes that Atticus is a descendant through the implied RAPE of Titus, and thus a premier member of the Sons. Because of his powerful heritage, Samuel Braithwaite, the current owner of the lodge and the leader of the Sons, plans to use and potentially sacrifice Atticus in an upcoming ritual. The white woman who helped the group earlier is revealed to be Samuel's daughter, Christina, and she has a whistle that controls the monsters. And after telling Atticus that not all white people are bad, Wow, I'm reading from Wikipedia. Literally, she tells them not all white people are bad. That's exactly what it says on this .org website. That is crazy. Um, not all white people are bad. She traps the travelers in their respective rooms with a magic force field. They eventually break out and rescue Montrose, the father who George had earlier deduced was being held captive in a nearby village. Samuel stops them, shooting and killing Letty and seriously wounding George, and Atticus agrees to cooperate in the ritual to save their lives. But the magic backfires as a black woman in a 19th century dress appears, and this is implied to be Atticus's slave ancestor, and turns Samuel and the other sons into stone and burns down the mansion. Atticus escapes, only to discover that although Letty has been resurrected, George has succumbed to his wounds. I was not expecting Uncle George to die here, but he did. Again, the pacing was extremely bad. Extremely bad. If you've done the homework, you can come up. If you have not done the homework, but you have read the Wikipedia synopsis, you can come up, but you will be silent. Only people, only people who did the homework. Petty just wanted to watch The Sandman. We need a proper review of this show. I'm sorry. Do you dislike my review because you forced us all to watch this bad show when we could have been watching? This is just like Nope all over again. As a matter of fact, this was produced by Jordan Peele, and he did a terrible job. Like the pacing during this episode, so bad. Like Uncle George just dies. Awful, stupid, dumb. Good evening, Adrian. How are you?
Good evening, sir. How are you doing today?
I was better, but I was watching and reviewing this show, and that made my day bad.
This show was very influential. I'm sorry that it made you feel bad. Maybe you don't have the heart for it, but I understand.
Now, before you give a review of the entire show, I would like to do episode by episode, and then at the end, we're going to do an overall thing. So if you have anything to say about episodes 1 and 2, please let your voice be heard, young black man. If not, then I'm going to keep going through them.
I'll let you continue, but I will put in the holes that you're missing as well.
You'll let me continue. See, one thing you don't do, Adrian, on my channel is let me do anything. Matter of fact, goodbye. No, I'm just playing. You can stay up, but just be wary. Just be wary about your language.
Understood.
So that is the episode. It's interesting. One of the lines I really liked was Atticus saying, "It seems that the KKK isn't just calling themselves Grand Wizards anymore," when he sees the magic people putting on their weird outfits with the pointy hoods. And Christina's like, my father and his associates would never fraternize with the Klan. They're too poor. And I'm like, damn, that's a weird flex, but okay, I'm here for it. The KKK too poor. Other than that, the plot was confusing because the pacing sucks and the writers did terrible. If there are no other thoughts on this episode, I am moving forward.
You can't, please.
You said I what?
Yes, you can move on.
You said I can move forward. You were
no. I said you are correct.
Okay, I like that. Episode 3, Holy Ghost. 3 weeks after George's funeral, Letty uses an unexpected inheritance from her deceased mother to buy this sort of rundown Victorian mansion in an all-white neighborhood on Chicago's North Side. She fills it with black tenants together with her half-sister Ruby, and the white neighbors harass them, burn a cross on the lawn. A white supremacist police officer, Captain Lancaster, threatens Letty. Inside the house, supernatural activity starts going on. Letty learns that the previous owner was a white scientist, Hiram Epstein. With the help of Lancaster, he kidnapped, experimented on, and killed 8 black people before burying them under the house. All 9 spirits are trapped there with the help of a medium in the black spirits. Letty banishes Epstein's ghost. Later, Atticus finds Christina Braithwaite in Chicago. She survived the fire. Atticus has deduced that she was secretly the source of the inheritance and steered Letty towards buying the house. And Christina explains that the house was built by Winthrop, a son of Adam's member who was banished after stealing pages from the Book of Names in the 1800s, and that Epstein was a follower of Winthrop's. So she asked Atticus to help her find the missing pages, which could help decipher the language of Adam. And Atticus attempts to shoot and kill her, but he's not able to pull the trigger. That is how the episode ends. I'm not going to lie. I could watch racist people get killed by ghosts in elevators all day. Black people do not mess with no damn Ouija board. I don't know why they put that scene in there. That was just not realistic. It completely suspended my belief in the story. Because why are they messing with spirits? That is not something Black people do. It just is not. They even had a comment in this show where the Black people were like, white people don't season their damn food. So I know that they're aware of the culture. So I'm confused on why they put the Ouija board scene in here. The one kid who was playing with the Ouija board was supposed to be Emmett Till, if you guys remember. He asked the board if he's going to have a good trip, and the board says no. And remember, Emmett Till was killed in 1955 on a trip to Mississippi from Chicago. I love the design of the ghost, the way that they use the exorcism of the house to symbolize Letty's determination to keep the property in spite of her racist neighbors. Some good shit. I also think that was the point of the white people who were killed at the end. Ridding the ghost went hand in hand with ridding herself from the troublesome neighbors. Plus, their deaths were apparently leading to something else, I thought, at the end, but I don't think it ever happened. There was no follow-up.
Um,
But
I do want to put my 2 cents in. It's not just troublesome neighbors. They literally were lighting crosses on her front door.
Yeah.
But I do want to indicate that Seamus, if I'm saying his name properly, the police chief.
Mhm.
That's that. He was what you call again keeping. He's also I think they revealed that, but he was keeping the house under wraps essentially because that's where his procedure was conducted. So that was a major plot point that they wanted to partake in, but before they thought they had a season 2, so that's understandable.
They thought they had a season 2. Is that why the writing and plot was so poor, as well as the pacing, in your
No,
opinion, Adrian?
no, they. Oh, I don't think the writing and the plot was poor, but that
Oh,
you're subject to your own opinions.
okay. Well, we just have a difference of opinion. The scene of the white people being killed is, I think, a direct inversion of horror tropes, where normally a scene like this ends with a sudden attack or the death of a protagonist or someone the film has you feeling sympathetic for. But instead, the protagonists are protected by this malevolent force, and the white guys who are already established as victims suffer the punishment. Like it. This is the third episode in a row where they do this. It happened in the forest with the cops. It happened in the cult mansion, and now again in the Winthorpe house. Any final thoughts on this episode?
I do want to agree. Sorry, I'm washing vegetables. I do want to agree that the way how they figured out to summon it was not the best way to represent that, but it is what it is at the end of the day. I enjoyed the scene.
I did not. I did not. I didn't enjoy any of these really. Like, the whole thing was poor, really poor, but a difference of opinion, right? Episode 4, A History of Violence. Montrose learns that Titus Braithwaite's pages from the Book of Names are stored in a vault in a museum in Boston, where Braithwaite donated a wing dedicated to his career as an explorer. Montrose tries to hide this information from Atticus because he wants his son to stop pursuing magic, but eventually he relents and he goes with Tick and Letty to the museum. They break into the vault after hours and find a desiccated corpse bent over the pages, and when Tick tries to take them, the corpse reanimates into this type of two-spirit named Yahima. And Yahima tells Tick that Braithwaite kidnapped them, locked them in the vault after they translated the pages for him, and they agree to leave with the Chicago travelers, but the vault begins to flood and the four barely escape. Upon returning to Chicago, Montrose murders Yahima to keep them from revealing more information about the pages. Meanwhile, Sheriff Lancaster and Christina have this sort of fight over control of the Chicago Sons of Adam Lodge, and William seduces Ruby, and Hippolyta and Diana go in search of answers about George's death. That is how the episode ends. Now, I want to point out that the young boy in the library in this episode was reading a book called Journey to the Center of the Earth, which I think foreshadows the rest of the episode, because obviously they all go underground, Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider style-esque adventure. A question I had was, they went to a museum in Boston, and the vault led them all the way back to the Winthorpe house in Chicago. So I doubt they actually traveled that far physically. I think they're magically transporting around. Maybe Winthorpe apparently used that elevator to connect his property to the rest of the property of the Sons of Adams,
Yeah.
which potentially opens up the possibility that the elevator could take the characters somewhere else in the world too. I also want to point out that Montrose let go of the scroll on purpose in the scene where she has to. Writing and pacing needed work. Yes. Written poorly. Yes. Um, Montrose let go of the scroll on purpose. If you guys remember the scene where she has to go and swim in the water to get the scroll, I believe he let go of it because, again, he doesn't want his son to dabble in magic and he's trying to get them to stop doing all this stuff. So that was interesting. I was also nervous of Ruby's white zaddy coming in more than any part of the show because sleeping with a white boy to distract yourself from racism or to feel needed is never a good idea. Don't ask me how I know. That's all I have to say about that episode. Adrian, if you have any thoughts, you may add them before I move on.
Okay. I will say, as much as I hated the way how Atticus's father went about things, he I could definitely see the silver lining of a father trying to protect his son. If you picked up on any of that.
That man, that man ain't trying to protect nobody.
Oh my god.
Well, he's trying, but the show does a poor job of portraying him as trying to do that. He's such an unlikable character. Like he's so unlikable. Don't nobody like that man.
Yep.
And they not about to try to. I don't know. Like the fact that he come in at the end of the episode and doesn't he kill the woman at the end?
Yeah, he goes in.
Not the woman. He kills the It's
Yeah,
they slash them.
yeah, he goes into the room. They were supposed to be a two soul type of entity who could have read the book or the text for them and translated. But the problem the problem I had with that whole scene was that there was no explanation other than that this is just a black man messing up everything like black men usually do. And I was disgusted.
You disagree with me earlier. The writing was poor, but now here you are like, what the hell? How did this even happen? Wait, they didn't explain what's going on. What is this? That's what I mean when I say the writing is poor. Like, what is even going on? Why did this? The pacing is poor. Like, she's swimming for 30 minutes trying to get the scroll, and then immediately after she grab it, she teleport back to the elevator magically, and there is no like, what's going on?
I'm only agreeing with you because the way how they represented the sexual aspects of the show, it was very much they were like, it's HBO, we need to put something spicy in there. Okay, we're gonna do these things. It was very much like it was chopped up and put together, but
I think you froze. I think what you're referencing is the part where they get back to the elevator and immediately start making out, even though they have no established romance at all. In my opinion, their chemistry is terrible. Who are these people? Why are they kissing? Oh, they're love interest. Why didn't the story set them up to be love interest? They just kissed because, oh my God, we're now, I guess the story is making us together. So, yep.
okay. I'm again.
Why did they kiss, Adrian? Why? What established romance did they have prior to this?
They did explain that they did grow together as youngins, and Atticus did have a.
They explained it.
Huh?
They explained it.
Yes, before they went on the trip, they showed how Atticus behaved around her from the beginning.
They did not do a good job of representing that. All I knew based off the first episode was Atticus used to be a nerd. Now he's back in town and he looks nice and she thinks he looks nice. That was the established romance. And then she teleport to the car and go on a road trip with them and now they're making out.
I want to know that I'm looking at the entire season as a whole and not each episode by itself. So I'm reading into stuff. So that might be my problem. I'll take that.
Like the fact okay, we're gonna move on because I want to get through these so I can get to the major flaws. Episode 5, Strange Case. After sleeping with William, Ruby wakes up as a white woman, and William reveals to her his metamorphosis potion. Montrese tells Atticus that he's taken care of Yahima and destroyed the pages, causing his son to nearly beat him to death. Letty tells Atticus that she's afraid of his anger, but the two later reconcile and have sex. Montrese goes to Sammy's apartment and has sex with him. Oh yeah, this was the episode where they do the gay. As Tick works on deciphering the language of Adam from Letty's photos, Letty warns him that the use of magic is inherently evil and will corrupt him. Ruby decides to keep using the potion for its privilege and gets a job as an associate manager at the department store under the name of Hillary. William tells her that she must perform a favor for Christina by planting a runic stone in Captain Lancaster's office, and while doing so, she discovers an imprisoned man who has been tortured and learns that Captain Lancaster has a particularly black body. Later, Ruby witnesses her white boss Paul attempt to sexually assault Tamara. And after Christina tells Ruby to embrace power, Ruby rapes Paul with a stiletto heel. And Ruby confronts William and asks what he and Christina do in the basement. And William metamorphizes into Christina. As Atticus works on the language, he translates something that causes him to call his former lover Ji-ah in South Korea. And that is the end of the episode. I want to point out, I do not like how they portrayed the gay scene as kind of, and maybe it was designed to, it was written to be this way, but the way that Montrese kind of uses his gay lover as a sexual object, and when it's time for him to actually give affection to his gay lover, it's all no thank you, I'm out. And then eventually he, I guess, reconciles with his gayness, and he's like, I'm here, this is me. And I do also want to point out I guess drag queen scene, loved it. Like, something about black men in drag, just amazing, because it feels like they're being themselves. He is closeted, it makes sense. It does make sense. I don't know, it didn't sit right with me. And then he comes out the closet, but now he got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in. Oh no, my son sees that I'm gay. They use some insulting language, but it's Jim Crow time, so understandable. But why? I don't know. I just didn't like how it was written. He was down low. That's how they act. Okay, so I just have a problem with this man not showing affection to his partner and not necessarily the script. Okay, all right, guys, I'll give you that. The way that they treat whiteness as an addiction for a black character, I think, was brilliant. That is horror at its finest. And how even now that it's all the doors are open, she's still dealing with being a woman. Congratulations to everybody who made the theory that William was Christina, because I did not. I was really surprised to see this man just metamorphosize. So Cardi B's song Bodak Yellow was playing during the scene where she RAPEs the man with her red stilettos. These is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. Fitting song, obviously, because the shoes were red bottoms and they were bloody after. Anyway, was that scene necessary? Don't know how I feel about revenge RAPE scenes generally, but I'll leave that alone. She was frustrated that Tamara got the job with no qualifications when she herself has this superb resume that was ignored until she was white. And then her demeanor completely changes when Tamara reveals that she has no education or real qualifications, and she starts being more aggressive towards her. Now, I like the part also in the break room when the racist one didn't care. Well, they're all racist. Didn't care about Tamara being uneducated because she looked down on her for being black regardless. And I think the message there is you can't educate yourself out of experiencing prejudice. Outside of that, now that gay scene took me by surprise, y'all. The one thing about Montrese's actor is he gonna act his ass off, because I was fully immersed. And then Ruby's actor, of course, is also playing this one, so she was doing well. And I guess this woman's actor, I forgot her name, but this woman's actor over here was doing good too. I don't know how I feel about him. I don't even know who he is. I don't think he was on the thing. Outside of that, I don't think I have any remarks for this episode. Let's move to the next. Meet Me in Daegu. Meet me in Daegu. In 1949, South Korea, Jia studies to become a nurse and lives with her mother, who demands she pick up men to have sex with. Jia brings home a man and kills him with her tentacle-like 9 tails that project out of her body. It's revealed that Jia is possessed by a Kumino, a 9-tailed fox spirit, and she must kill 100 men to become human again. Her stepfather was RAPEing her, and her mother had a shaman send the Kamiho to possess her daughter to kill him. In 1950, the Korean War begins, and Jia works as a nurse. And to smoke out a communist spy, the Americans arrest the nurses, and Atticus executes one of them, who and then Jia's friend reveals herself to be the spy, and Jia decides to seduce Atticus with the intention of killing him, but falls in love with him instead. She believes she can control her tails, but when having sex with him, her tails emerge and attack him, and she has a vision of his future and tells him that he will die if he returns to America. Atticus ends the relationship and run out naked, and Jia and her mother consult the shaman, who tells them that many more will die. Um, that is the episode. I really like this episode. I was like, finally, there's yeah, don't watch it. It's not good. If you do watch it, look, the fact that it's 10 hours total is problematic to me, because I was ready to quit after episode 2. I was like, what is this? Relationship is a stretch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it was like finally a good one. I really liked this one. Her acting very well. The story, I was immersed in it. Even though I was not immersed in Atticus. Again, I just don't like his character, as well as his acting is poor. So the Asian soldier, if you guys catch it, the Asian soldier makes a remark about being treated as a foreigner at home in the States, but also in Korea, he's a foreigner as well. And I think that resonates with me as a black man. Well, not me, probably related to people back then who were going off to fight wars overseas and being black and not being treated well in your own country, America, as well as going to another country, as well as I have Asian American friends who tell me a little bit about that. Some veteran friends who tell me a little bit about going over to Asian countries and being seen as like, you're not one of us, but then when they're here, you're not one of us. So Atticus was way ahead of his time with Netflix and chill. I want to point that out. It does look like he invented that. And this episode is like Jabaro to me in the way that it poses this two forces against each other. One is a monster acting on her own nature, and the other, Atticus, is born a human but becomes a monster of his own volition. So yeah, he's just a bad person. And we can talk about the war crimes and the implications in this scene, but I won't, because that is going to be in my major flaws section. So let's just move on to the next episode, which was I Am. I don't know how I feel about this one. Let me read the synopsis. Hippolyta visits the ruin of Artem Lodge and discovers that George was there. She works out how to use the Orani and finds a key hidden within. Christina shows Ruby the corpse of William, who was killed by Lancaster and Dell, and asks for her help. And Letty and Atticus discover that they are both having dreams of Hannah, Atticus's slave ancestor, and deduce that she escaped with the Book of Names. Atticus discovers his father's homosexuality, while Letty finds out that she's pregnant. And Atticus goes to St. Louis to contact a relative and is told the Book of Names was lost in the Tulsa race massacre of 1921. Hippolyta goes to the Winthrop Observatory and uses the keys. Letty finds the Orani and tells Atticus where Hippolyta has gone. Atticus saves Hippolyta from two of Lancaster's policemen, but in the struggle, a portal to another dimension is open. Atticus and Hippolyta both fall through. Hippolyta discovers she has the power to be whoever she wants. She befriends Josephine Baker in the 1920s Paris and becomes this type of Amazon warrior as well, defeats a group of Confederate soldiers, and then meets George again, finally embracing her true identity as a discoverer. And then Atticus returns from the other dimension at the end of the episode. What are y'all doing in the? I just got back. What are y'all doing in the comments? What? This is not what y'all gonna do. Sandman was what? Excuse me? And y'all are lifting up this poor show. Lovecraft Country was such a poor show. So I want to read Hippolyta's speech real quick. She said, "We are here because we did not believe them when they told us our rage was not ladylike. We did not believe them when they said our violence goes too far. We did not believe them when they said the hatred that we feel for our enemies is not godlike. They say that to women like us because they know what happens when we are free. Free to hate when we must, free to kill when we must, free to bring destruction when we must. That is our freedom. That is our prayer. No matter what they think of us after we grind them into the dust, that is our love. That was Warrior Hippolyta giving her best Braveheart speech and getting a standing ovation, at least in my living room. Um, did anybody else think Hippolyta was going to hook up with Josephine Baker? It was giving bisexual, bi curious. It was giving. It was definitely giving. I like that they use so many different bodies in the dancing routine. What is it called? I forgot what it's called, but those type of risque shows where you're like dressed up like they were. They use all different types of bodies, all different shades, and it was just women having a good time. This whole episode was just Black women empowerment. Um, I am George's wife. After she defeat those soldiers, got me tearing up. And I love even after she acknowledges how life with George limited her potential, she still brought him along with her to be her adventure buddy as Hippolyta the Discoverer. Um, I don't know that I like a Black man holding a Black woman back, but I do like the idea of this type of pet that she bring along with her to to rediscover life with. Um, and let me also read this. This is what she told George, I believe. Now that I've tasted it, freedom like nothing, like I've never known before, I see that what I was robbed of back then. All those years, I thought I had everything I ever wanted, only to come here and discover all I ever was the exact type of Negro woman white folks wanted me to be. I feel like they just found a smart way to lynch me without me noticing the news. Yeah, I felt that Hippolyta was crushing it in this episode. Again, I already told y'all her actor is amazing. Her character was unproblematic, unlike everybody else. Um, and Hippolyta, I think, was the queen of the Amazons in Greek mythology. And that's what she became when she screamed that she was Hippolyta. And also, of course, her daughter loves comics. She's named Diana, daughter of Hippolyta, aka Wonder Woman, if you guys watch movies or read comics. Um, and it's just like the whole episode, Black plus size nerdy woman on screen in various adventures from horror to military to sci-fi. This episode meant a lot to the Blurs, I think. She was not only there to support another conventional character or solely to prop up a white character storyline, like how the dark-skinned Black sister is used to be this plot device for the light-skinned sister and for Christina. No, none of that. She's not here to prop up anybody's storyline. She's not here to be the maternal figure giving everyone advice. And I appreciated that. I thought it was extraordinary. Also, nudity being used in a non-sexual way. Cool. I think at every point during this show, somebody is naked. The character is naked. Every character you can think of is naked at some point. Which is interesting. Again, like I said at the beginning, doesn't take away from the story, just interesting. Maybe instead of focusing on nudity and sex, though, they could have worked on pacing and plot and writing and acting. And I don't know. Let me not drag. But I like this. I also like this woman. Like, look at this woman on the screen. Just look at her and take it in for 5 seconds. I'll let you guys take it in while I go on mute. Awesome. Awesome. Episode 8, Jigaboo. So Atticus, Letty, Ruby, Montrose, and Diana attend the memorial for Emmett Till, who was a friend of Diana's. Diana is distressed at being abandoned by Hippolyta and is stopped by Lancaster, who demands that she give him the orrery. And when she refuses, he casts a spell that leads to two spirits, Topsy and Bopsy, to haunt her. And Atticus gives Christina the key to the orrery time machine in exchange for learning how to cast spells. Christina is planning to sacrifice Atticus at the fall equinox to be immortal. Ruby grows closer to Christina, but is hurt when she tells her that she doesn't care about Emmett Till's lynching. Gia arrives in Chicago, but her presence angrily upsets Letty and causes the latter to disown Atticus. Montrose and Atticus reconcile. Atticus says he visited the future while at Winthrop Observatory. Liz took him out the home and will have a son by Letty named George, who will write the book Lovecraft Country. Letty trades the negatives of her photos in exchange for Christina casting a spell. Montrose and Atticus cast a spell to protect them, but nothing happens. Two men kill Christina in the same manner as Emmett Till and dump her corpse into Lake Michigan, but she revives. A suddenly more appreciative Ruby tells Letty of her relationship with William and Christina. Diana is attacked by Topsy and Bopsy and collapses, and Lancaster attempts to enter Letty's house to find the orrery, but when he cannot, he and his policemen shoot up the house. A policeman tries to shoot Atticus, but a Shogun appears, those are the monsters, and kills the policeman and tears off Lancaster's arm. And Letty observes that Atticus's spell worked after all. That is the end of the episode. Now, I just want to point out the idea of the white woman doing this thing where she pays some men to beat her up and tie her to this thing and throw her in the ocean so that she can simulate being Emmett Till is, and then all of a sudden now she has understand, I know exactly what you guys are going through now because I consensually did it. Like I didn't like that. The white girl activism where they have y'all seen these things where white people will just like dress up in chains and they'll let a black man parade them around town and they'll be like, white guilt, I'm sorry. Like, what are you doing? What is this supposed to accomplish? I understand you now. It's so lame. It's like Kanye. He has his new clothing line out and he Tila T. Not y'all make sure to go watch Themis's Tila Tequila video. She understands you ratchet black girls now because she, anyway, that's not the point. The point is Kanye got a clothing line out right now and he set up the stores to have his clothes in garbage bags because he said the reason why is because it's a stunt. But he said the reason why is, oh, I want people to know what homeless people experience when they have to shop through garbage bags for clothes. Like this, first of all, I don't feel like that's how people experiencing homelessness get clothes. I feel like they have clothes and then become homeless and probably just still have the same clothes they had prior. I don't know. I'm not homeless, let me not. But yeah, Kanye poses it as if you're experiencing homelessness when in reality you are consensually paying to go sift through garbage bags. It's like wealthy people who go dumpster diving for the experience. Or if you guys remember the episode where she becomes the white woman, she has her black friend take them to the south side and the white girls are like, ooh, we're going on a field trip to the Negro part of town, where it's like something that I do every day of life. You are making this field trip and just bastardizing it. So that's how I felt about her just trying to simulate Emmett Till. It was just like those white women who went to the restaurant earlier in the series, and now all of a sudden she have an understanding. Yeah, guys, go catch it. I think it's still not privated. So my thoughts on this episode: we learned that Montrese is dyslexic, which I think is extremely funny. Because a dyslexic spellcaster sounds like a recipe for disaster. The demon dancers paired with that creepy ass "Let Me In" song was more scary to the ghost from episode 3 to me. These girls are looking like the Tethered from Us. If you've seen that Jordan Peele movie, maybe there was inspiration there, don't know. I think at this point Dee has had a rough ride. Her dad has been killed. Her mother seemingly abandoned her for alternate universe joyrides. Her cousin and his girlfriend not caring to look for her after a couple of hours. Like, she just disappeared the whole day, and Atticus and them was like, oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it. And then the cops spitting magic on her, and now she has to fight off demon backup dancers. First of all, being spit on in the first place, but being spit magic on you, and now you got to fight demon backup dancers bucking and jiving all day, like, must be exhausting. Her uncle then getting in the way at the end was so annoying. She's winning this 2-on-1 fight with those demon girls, and then he grabbed her. I'm like, why can't this man do nothing right? Leave. He need to be here for the plot at all? At all? No, he has done nothing but hinder the plot. He could have literally not been a character, and the story would have been so much better. And maybe it's symbolic, right? She's fighting these stereotypes and he wants her to stop fighting it because he thinks he's helping, but he's just harming and helping the world get her down. Don't know. Um, let me see. Oh, Dee's still missing. I don't care anymore, which was like everybody in the show. Emmett Till would have been 81 years old today, or 82. I think his birthday just passed. If he was alive today, just wanted to make a note of that. Um, and I was blown away by the running commentary throughout the episode regarding Dee and little black girls, especially those who go missing. She's angry, she's sad, but she's ignored and unheard and silenced when she needs help, and she's lost and forgotten until it's too late. Literally, nobody is checking for this girl at all, ever. They check for like 5 minutes at the beginning, and that's it. The show pulls no punches. And the cops holding a black person in this type of magical chokehold while she gasps that she can't breathe, I think is way too reminiscent of recent events. So, let me see. This was the interaction between Ruby and Christina, and then we can go to the next episode. Ruby said a 14-year-old boy was beat and shot to death, then tied with barbed wire by the neck to a cotton gin fan and cast into the Tallahatchie River. Christina says she knows, and Ruby says, but do you care at all? And Christina says, you want me to say yes. Ruby says, I don't want you to say anything. I want you to feel what I feel right now. Heartbroken, scared, furious, and tired. So effing tired of feeling this way over and over again. And I want you to feel alone and shameful because I'm here feeling this and you will never understand it, which I think was a powerful conversation between them. That's every bit as relevant in 2022 as when the story originally take place. Let's move on to the Demon Backup Dancers, episode 9. I'm just so eager to get to my what's wrong with this show because I don't even care to go through these episodes, but I'll do it for you guys. I'll do it for you guys. Hippolyta returns to Chicago to find Atticus, Letty, and Montrose struggling to keep Diana alive after she has been cursed by Lancaster. Ruby summons Christina, who uses Hippolyta's blood to reset the curse, but warns that because Lancaster was the only one who knew the curse, it cannot be fully lifted. Christina visits and taunts a dying Lancaster and convinces Ruby to aid her in her quest for immortality, even after Ruby learns that the spell will kill Atticus. The others decide to use Hiram's multiverse machine to travel back in time to 1921 Tulsa, where Tick's mother's family held the Book of Names before it was destroyed in the Tulsa Race Massacre. Upon arriving in 1921, Tick, Letty, and Montrose witness a young Montrose being beaten by his father. The adult Montrose flees. Like, this man is so useless. Why do you need to be here? Anyway, Tick goes looking for Montrose and finds him watching his younger self rebuke a potential love interest of his, Thomas, due to him struggling with internalized homophobia and the external oppression at the time before the pair of them, as well as a young George and Dora, are set upon by a white mob who succeed in killing Thomas. And Atticus comes to everybody's rescue. Letty is saved from the attackers by Tick's mother's family, who hide her in the house as it's attacked by another mob. And Letty convinces Tick's great-grandmother to hand over the Book of Name by promising to safeguard her family and their legacy. And then the trio flee the burning city and return to 1955 through the portal. Okay. I don't know what that comment was. Oh, I did appreciate the part where Montrose and Tick talk about Montrose's sexuality. Montrose explaining his fear of being openly gay and the horrors that would be associated with being gay. I understand. I just think it's written poorly. Like, the plot's terrible, the pacing's terrible, the ideas behind the story not necessarily terrible, even though they don't tie in well together and aren't explored as much as I would like. But whatever. I want to point out that in the beginning, before Hippolyta opened the portal, she said, leave your shit here. And everybody else did exactly the opposite. Like, why are y'all going in this portal drunk and bewildered and just internal struggle going on and self-hatred? Why didn't she say leave this shit here at the beginning of the trip and y'all took it with? Yeah, okay. Montrose's actor does a really good job of making me hate him to the point where I don't even care his father is beating him. Like, they're trying to say, oh, look, sad backstory. Don't you feel sorry for him now? No, not at all. Like, who cares? Oh no, he watched his gay lover die in front of him and now trauma. And it's not that that's not something to feel for a character. for. It's that it was written and acted out so poorly that I just don't care. Like, the story has a hard time making me care about anybody at all besides Dora and the little girl. Um so there's this mad scientist genius Hippolyta, right? And she's lived for hundreds of years and she's seen some stuff, but she still comes back to save her daughter. And that is like by far my favorite version of Hippolyta. And I'm saying this as someone who really liked the warrior queen, Hippolyta. I think Christina is a solid villain in this episode and generally because the motivation behind her actions are like she just wants to experience everything this world denied her, blah blah blah, generic villain backstory. She's woke enough to understand where her interests overlap with Ruby, and she does seem to have genuine feelings for her. You can almost see her being like Spike to Buffy, if you guys have seen that show. Someone like that to me. She becomes a villain when she decides to sacrifice Atticus to gain immortality, because that's something villains do. And she wants to experience everything the world has to offer at the expense of the rest of the world's experiences. She likes Ruby, but she won't hesitate to throw Ruby under the bus if it had any impact on her getting what she wants. And her villainy ties into the limits of her allyship. So, and then there's Atticus being the mysterious stranger who saves Montrose, which I feel was extremely poorly done. Like, I don't even I do not even remember them having a conversation about some random man coming to save them from being attacked. I don't even remember Montrose saying that he was attacked when he was in youth. Obviously, it has to be somewhere in the show. I'm not going to go back and rewatch it to find it. But like, again, the way it's written so poorly, acted so poorly, pacing is so poor, like it's so confusing all over the place. The fact that I didn't even know there was somebody to come in to save them or that there was an attack in the first place is telling. I just found out this episode. Interesting. Very interesting. Hippolyta literally foaming at the mouth at the end of the episode, trying to keep the time breach open, and Letty just living her Britney Spears toxic fantasy, doing this slow catwalk type of thing out of the fire. Like, can you run? Can you goddamn run? Why do you want to walk? He told the story, sir. It wasn't memorable. It was poorly done, poorly written, poorly acted, which is why it was unmemorable, because it's forgettable, like this show will be. Hopefully after today, I won't remember it. And I will start watching Sandman, which we're going to be doing next week, y'all. Sandman. I'm so excited to do. Can't wait. So let's go to the final episode 10, Full Circle. So, what is her name? Letty. Okay, Letty brings the book of names to the group. They open it and Tick and Latila. What is her name? Letitia. I think I'm gonna just call her Letty because ain't no way. Let me not butcher black people's name. I understand how bad that is. So Letty. They enter an ancestral realm that looks like Tick's mother home, surrounded by fire. And Tick's mother warns him that he will have to be a hero and sacrifice himself. They're able to lift Diana's curse, but her arm remains withered. And Tick and Letta, I can't even remember. They're so unrememberable. Letitia, ain't no way. Okay. I did not know that. I'm just learning that. Tick and Letitia go to use Titus's vault, and they use the Book of Names to summon him. They take a piece of his flesh to use in a spell to bind Christina. And Tick meets with Gia. He apologizes and tells her he considers her family. I just want to pause and say, she got family zone. Like, this man skipped the friend zone and put her in the family zone. I have never in my life heard of such. You're like a sister to me. Now, I don't know how y'all are with y'all family. I don't know if some of y'all live in Alabama. Me and my sister are not that close. We're just not. So he apologizes to her. Letitia asks Ruby to help them get a piece of Christina's body for the spell. The group travel to Artem to try to stop Christina, enjoying a sing-along along the way. And Christina's followers surround Tick and strap him to an altar. Letitia and Ruby are preparing the spell when Ruby is revealed to be Christina in disguise. They fight, and Christina pushes Letitia from the tower. Then Christina performs the ceremony, covering herself in Tick's blood, and Letitia tries to kill Christina to save him. But thanks to the ceremony, she's now immortal. Letitia tries to cast the binding spell, but without a piece of Christina's body, it doesn't work. Gi uses her tails to connect Tick and Christina, and the binding spell works. And Christina is bound from ever performing magic, along with all other white people. When did they decide to make it all white people? Don't know. Plot doesn't really tell you. Writing doesn't really tell you. Poor story. Terrible. After that, Tick dies from blood loss, and in the final scene, Diana, now with a mechanical arm, courtesy of her mother, kills Christina by crushing her throat. That is it. That is episode 10, and that is the end of the story. The next thing we will talk about is the major flaws. But before we do that, seeing more Black people move into the neighborhood in episode 10, I think was an important but small detail. But big in the grand scheme of things, right? White flight. When the neighbors can't run her out, they start selling their homes. I just wanted to point that out. I like that. Why would they leave D alone, knowing what's in the woods? Because as you guys saw, D was attacked by them things. Don't know. I guess they don't care. I guess they don't care about D. Don't nobody care about little Black girls. Not even her family. That really confused me. It confused me more than my hair confused y'all. Also, I think she had the Shogoth to protect her, which we don't know as the viewers, but we saw her being bonded to it in the flashbacks when Gia linked with Tick and Christina to form a bond between them. So again, just a example of terrible storytelling. Like, she's left in the woods and all of these things are attacking her, but then one starts attacking the other one, but we don't know that it's hers. Like, it just sets it up so poorly. It's so rushed. The pacing is so freaking poor. I want to point out the line, "Would you be willing to die to fuck me?" Somebody somewhere out there got a new Tinder bio when they watched this. Somebody somewhere. Everybody was talking shit about Ruby, and then she sacrificed herself trying to help. Which I hated how this show treated Ruby. I hated how it treated. I just didn't like it. We'll talk about it in the major flaws. But yeah, after they cut off white people from magic, it's gonna be a lot of disappointed white kids at Hogwarts after this, and I hope they explore that if they become renewed for a second season. With that being said, now we can get into the major flaws. The first major flaw to me. During Atticus and Letty's first sex scene, she's obviously hurt because he acted selfishly and recklessly with no concern for her emotional well-being, pleasure, and arguably even without her consent. The scene happens really fast, and he makes no attempt to really make sure she gave enthusiastic consent. She's always only reacting to him. And after he comes, he's out of there. Like, no concern for returning the favor or seeing if she's feeling all right, checking up on her, right? Her period comes on. Like, nope, he's just out of there. Bye. Don't care. I think he acts this way because he's told Letty had sex with a friend of his in high school, because he knows she has had sex and she's not a virgin like he wants. So now I guess he thinks he can treat her like dirt, and the narrative actually supports his view of things, because it's only when Letty reveals that she's a virgin that he shows any type of remorse. I think if they were going to leave this scene in the show, they could at least have it be a real conflict that Atticus has to grow out of his toxic, possessive view on women to be with Letty. Not just, oh, it was a misunderstanding that promotes the idea that only virgin women deserve respect and common decency. But no, they didn't want to. They didn't want to go into that. It wasn't romantic at all. Like, when did they become an item? Where was the setup? The dream she had where his wee-wee was a snake? That's it? Oh, she had feelings for him in high school, so she magically teleported in the car with them, and now they're going on a road trip, and now they are having sex. They had sex before they kissed, I think. Or am I tripping? So let me whatever. That was the first major flaw I found. The second major flaw, Montrese was able to kill someone who I thought was immortal, Yahima is introduced as this amazing non-binary indigenous person just to be immediately killed off. And I think it's really ironic how they cast this indigenous person for their personal gain and then dispose of them. And within the context of the story, that's exactly what they do as well. And if you remember her telling about what them white people did to her back in the past, the white people used her to translate this book, I think. And then after she did, they lock her in the basement to die. And now here come these black people to use her. And now that she's all used up, they kill her just like the white. Was this a symbolism about how the oppressed can become the oppressed? Don't know. Why is she able to be killed? Don't know. The story doesn't explain. Why is she able to be revived in the first place? Don't know. The story doesn't really explain. Will she come back to life after being killed? Don't know. The story doesn't really explain. All we know is that she was alive, and like there's no explanation as to how he killed her, how she was brought back to life in the first place. It's just, this is what I mean when I say this is extremely terrible as far as writing. What is going on? He killed her. Oh no, was it a ritual? Don't know. Is she coming back to life? Don't know. Like what is going on? And the way Adrian got up here talking about, nah, brother, you got to look at the deeper meaning behind it. Yahima is the two spirit. She can be killed, but she can come back to life, but she can't come back to life if she's killed. Why do I have to? What is with y'all in this obsession with I have to go out and seek other media to make this media make sense? Why can't the media just make sense to me? Why? This is That was, yeah, it was confusing. That was my second major flaw. The third major flaw: Atticus is a whole complacent war criminal. His character never reckons with it. The show never acknowledges it in any meaningful way. And then we have the whole him being sexually attracted to a woman from the culture that he helped terrorize was his redemption arc. Conflict within himself? Nope. Who cares? I like this sexy Asian woman. Now I'm cured. And all of that bad stuff I did, it doesn't exist anymore, guys. I'm no longer a terrorist. Did you guys know that Osama bin Laden actually played a pickup game of basketball with a black person and then he stopped hating other races? That's actually how it happened, guys. It's This trope is used a lot in media to absolve characters of war crimes, and I think it's harmful and stupid, not very well. It's just like those, oh, I fell in love with my abuser or my kidnapper or my RAPEist type of tropes where the abuser catches feelings for his victim and vice versa. It's like, it's Stockholm syndrome to me with extra steps. He drank a Pepsi. Did you guys know that Kylie Jenner ended racism in, I think, 2016 when she handed a police officer a Pepsi? She actually stopped police brutality, guys. Look up the stats. There has been no racism since then. Just a true fact. Just a true fact. Yeah, I wish they would have explored this more. Like, I guess look, the way Cynthia G and Tarot Reader would have you think about these black men, they are crack. So apparently this ancient demon in this Asian woman's body just got addicted to this black. She got digmatized, and now it no longer matters that he killed her best friend because that wee wee is too good. I'm gonna clip this and use it in my debate, guys. The next major flaw: there was no Lovecraft in this story. Where was the Lovecraft? Where was the cosmic horror, the existential dread? It does not seem like this show had much of anything to do with Lovecraft. It seems like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Supernatural, I don't know, where it's like magic battles and wizards and such, which is fine. But how does this tie in with H.P. Lovecraft? I don't know. The only thing I think that tied in with any type of Lovecraftian lore is the Shoggoth that we saw are an actual type of cosmic horror creature. They look a little different, but And the last major flaw, well, not the last one, but Ruby is kind of this over-sexualized, sassy, dark-skinned woman, which was weird to me. It's like, you're Jordan Peele. Come on, man. Is this how you're going to cast the dark-skinned women, the overweight women, what's going on with you? Again, her character was so likable to me and was done so dirty. so dirty, like, and then killed in the end trying to help out her light skin. Remember what I said about I Am and how the black woman in that episode just exists. She's not there to further the plot along. She's not there to be a mammy. She's not there to be sidekick to a whiter light skinned woman. She's just her character. But Ruby only exists to help out her light skinned sister and then die to create conflict. That's it. And then also be a racist caricature. Look at the big black woman. She's using her body to bewitch him. Wow. Okay. And the last thing, the very last major flaw. Who taught this man how to cry? Who? Who taught this man how to cry? Because he need a refund. Every scene where this man, forget crying, every scene this man is in. Why does this man act like? Who approved this? Have y'all ever seen Tyler Perry movies in the way that black people act in Tyler Perry movies? Why do it feel like I'm watching Lovecraft Tyler Perry? Lovecraft Medea? a, lo- a, a Lovecraft Medea story. The acting and wigs in this show. Look, y'all. I think that is it. My final thoughts. This was terrible. This was terrible. And it makes me feel so bad to say that. Because again, episode one had me so captivated. Like the chase that they have with the sheriff, and they're trying to get out the sundown town, and the sheriff is like, you can't get out that way, it's gonna take you too long, and I'm gonna get you. So they're like, can we make a U-turn? Oh, you can make a U-turn. Just say, please let the nice N-words make a U-turn, daddy sheriff. Say it. Like the reaction it's causing in me, this visceral response I'm getting where I'm like, knowing he ain't really got a choice. And then the chase, where the chase is more exciting than the monsters or anything else in the show. Like they trying to get over the train tracks, then they get over the train tracks and there's a blockade of the other sheriffs and they in another sundown. I'm like, wow. First episode had me captivated, even though again, pacing off for each episode. The pacing is off. And then it just falls so flat on episode 2 and continues to decline until maybe I liked I Am a little bit, but again, pacing so terrible, storytelling so bad. It really the plot, dialogue, and acting just no. Started good, hooked me, downhill. That's what made me really mad. If the first why y'all didn't make the first episode bad so I wouldn't have wasted my. Because if the first episode had been bad, do y'all know I wouldn't have watched episode 2? The only reason I finished watching this show is because I had an obligation to it. Yeah, that's the only reason I finished the series. I had a prior commitment to the review, so it is what it is. Again, episode 1, promising. Episode 2, a little lackluster. Episode 3, 4, 5, couldn't make myself care about the plot, the characters, anything really. It was all over the place. Which, to be fair, it's a show with an episodic nature, but the overarching plot just didn't interest me enough to want to check out the next episode. I wanted to like it, but the truth is, it just bored the hell out of me, and it was so all over the place and so bad. With that being said, those are my final thoughts. Somebody please get me in contact with that man. I will give him acting lessons. I will give him crying lessons. Because one thing about me, I can cry. Let me show y'all something. And then we can get out of here. I just want to share this. I really want to share this with you guys. Do you guys see this?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I just want y'all to sit with that for a little bit. Let it marinate. Let me see if I can find that other one. Let me see if I can find his 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 Django audition. Oh my god.
No!
Oh my god. Can y'all imagine if that was Django? That is exactly how I feel about Atticus's actor. Who I know him because I saw him in The Harder They Fall or something like that. Let me see who his actor is. I want to call him out directly. That's all, guys. I'm probably gonna play my outro and do a short after show. Jonathan Majors. His name is Jonathan Majors. I did not care for his acting in this, which is crazy because in The Harder They Fall, I didn't find his acting to be too bad. I don't think I actually I don't remember it being bad at all. It's been a second since I watched it, but I remember it being just like cool show. Over the top Western Negro movie, loved it. This terrible. Outside of that, thank you guys for coming. My name is Prince Petti. This has been Man with a Mic. I'm gonna have a short after show. Oh, he was in Loki. You know who else was in Loki? The woman who played the dark-skinned actor Ruby. The woman who played Ruby. She was in Loki too, I think, with a buzz cut or something. I don't remember. Sandman, guys. Sandman next weekend. We are doing Sandman. Somebody said Watchmen. I don't know how long that is, but guys, the reason that Lovecraft was so difficult for me is because this is 10 hours of commitment that I had to make this week. And remember, we were doing Sandman. So I started watching Sandman, and then in the middle of the week, Lovecraft. So I got like 3 days to get 10 hours worth of them. Do y'all have jobs? Because one thing about me, I'm going to go and mop and sweep all day and then have little time to myself after work. So trying to cram in 10 hours after work was difficult. But Sandman, I'm already ahead of the game. So I am ready. Somebody said Watchmen. I don't know how long Watchmen is. I'm trying to do shows that are short because those 1 season, 10 episode shows that we can get out the way, because once we commit to something like, I don't know, Twilight Zone or The Walking Dead, once we commit to stuff like that, we are watching 700 hour long episodes, and we're not going to have a review for a long time. So yes, next week is going to be Sandman. Other than that, I don't think I have anything for you guys. Make sure to watch the material. Oh, my bad. This is supposed to be an open panel. If anybody wanted to come up and give their thoughts on this terrible show that we reviewed today, you may do so. I just put the link in the chat. I'll give you guys 1 minute and 30 seconds to come up. And while you guys do that, if you want to, I'll play my didgeridoo until time runs out. Sounded like shit a little bit, but it is what it is. Hello, Vitamin, and hello, Concerned.
Hello.
We can go with Concerned first, and then Vitamin.
So I think one thing that stood out for me on Lovecraft Country was I really liked the visuals. Like, I feel like the colors and the money that they put into the sets themselves were beautiful. I think that in terms of where, like, why I think a lot of people do like it is that it was invested in and it was visually beautiful, like the different types of twists of certain scenes, like a future where there are Black women warriors, um periods, moments where um you are seeing things look really, really I don't know. It the Black town looks normal. It doesn't look like a ghetto. I think that you have to give um, that credit that they invested in the set.
Do you remember the scene where they get with the dead lady who comes back to life and then it starts flooding?
Yo, it's so funny to me because like I didn't even I don't remember half of the stuff you be saying, which I guess proves your point. But that's did that actually happen? The dead lady with the are you trolling me right now?
When they were underground in the tunnels and they found the book and he touched it and she came back up and unmummified, and then they started talking and it flooded and they ran out. The same episode where she the woman with the boobies and the wee wee at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
And it started flooding in that episode. It looked awful.
You would, Petty, like you just don't give any points, do you?
Do you want to settle for mediocre?
Whatever, Petty. You just on one today.
There's this need to let Black art be mediocre when it comes to us critiquing it and consuming it. And I feel like there's this unspoken obligation that whenever something new with a predominantly Black cast or main character comes out, we have to watch it. And even if it's to our detriment, if you remember something like Them, I think it was Them, where it was just like Black torture porn. The whole thing was just Black torture and angst and cat in the bag, awful. But we have to consume it because it's Black, and we have to like it because if we don't, the powers that be will think that viewers aren't actually interested in more inclusive media and will have ruined our chance for blah 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 blah. It's restricting because it is mediocre. The show is mediocre. When we try to give the guy who brought McDonald's to his kids points for bringing McDonald's to his kids, even though it's the bare minimum, I think we're failing. And you trying to get, you know what? I'll give it the points. Let's not even fight. I'll give it the points for visuals.
No, like if it hurts you that bad, I want you to speak your truth. That's your truth. No points for them. I think personally that it was visually very pretty. Like even the dark moments where you were in the South, where they were where crazy, awful stuff was happening. You also saw that like they put money into making things like into the definition, into just it being really immersive. I appreciated that.
Maybe, okay, how about, this is what I've heard about it in some reviews. It's high lows. Some episodes really good, really amazing. Then the next episode completely unrelated, falls flat, CGI is terrible, etc. So I agree. There were I really like the visuals, even though the pacing again was so poor. The storytelling to me was poor. The episode where they go to the Korean country, really liked it, the visuals and everything like that. And then there were other episodes like episode 3 where the Black people who were experimented on come back to life. Their ghosts look so terrible. Like, I don't know, I liked what they did with the ghosts, like the designs of them, but I thought the CGI was just poor, if that makes sense. So it's like a on and off thing. I'll give them that. Some of them had very nice things, or maybe it was like you're saying, the backgrounds were good and it's just the CGI I'm focusing on, maybe. So maybe I'll give it a rewatch. That's a lie, I won't, but I'll think about that. I'll internalize it.
Night, Petty.
All right, thank you. Vitamin.
Hello. I didn't watch Lovecraft I didn't want to be scared, but a lot of the things you said I had heard about it. That being said, I don't think Jonathan Majors is a bad actor. I'm not saying he is, the best actor. But I saw The Harder They Fall. I liked that movie in general, and I watched Loki, and I thought that was good.
Let me go watch Loki and see what he does. See, it's because The Harder They Fall exists that I know he can do better. With
But
The
that's
Harder,
like you said about the Tyler Perry thing. Like I feel like because you see sometimes, a lot of times, more often than he probably deserves, Tyler Perry gets really like quality actors, but the product is just like, what the hell is this?
the
And
wig.
so, again, I didn't watch the show. Maybe it was the material. Maybe that was, the way he was being directed and coached into being, as far as being that character. So maybe it's not him per se, but the character itself, which doesn't sound like a great person, but really is in
I
this
want to show you something. I'm not sure if you've ever seen this before, but could I show it to you real quick?
show. Sure.
Let me put this on the screen.
That's not acting.
Oh my God.
That's not acting. That's his real life.
He's not even acting, and he's doing such an amazing job compared to the crying that Atticus gave in the show.
I didn't even see it, so I can't even say you're wrong.
Mm-hmm. Girl, the actor it was so bad. It was so. I know they can do. That's what upset me. You saw how Ruby came in and acted her ass off. Her character was compelling the whole time, believable, loved it. And then these other people around her talking about, you gotta come with me, lady. We're gonna save the day. You can't go to the fight without me. I go, what? What are they talking about? What's going on? What is your anyway?
Well, all right. Thank you for letting me come up. I'm gonna hop down there.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming up. QB, hello.
Hey there. So I'm out. So I'm going to be very brief. And I'm going to say with my whole chest that I don't like the way the black women's bodies were used in that. It just basically was like they were just there. Like they didn't flesh them out well at all. And I'm going to say that with my whole chest before saying Jonathan and back muscles. That is all.
Jonathan and back muscles.
And back
One thing about Lovecraft, they gonna have some naked people in every episode at some point for some reason, regardless of gender. I agree with you about the way they use particularly dark-skinned black bodies. Aside from the only episode I really liked was I Am, the one where she goes off into the space journey where she's anybody she wants to be. Even though the pacing again was terrible, I liked the portrayal there in how they use bodies where they have sort of this I forgot what it's called, but they're doing the dancing and stuff like that, not stripping, but something like that where they're showing off their bodies and being sexual. And then this other side where it's like fierce warrior. But maybe that's bad now that I say it out loud, that there's this hypersexualized scenario where they're using black women's bodies, and then there's this super aggressive masculine warrior.
And to go on with that point, it's not even just the sexualized part. It's just even Letty was just like a baby maker. She was just like a breeder. Like all of that fucking help she gave you, and that's all she was worth was just a baby deal. I was a little pissed off. Sorry, I was upset.
The way they didn't have no romance at all. He just, oh, now that another man's sleeping with you, I'm jealous. Let me come in and assert my dominance. Oh, you're on your period? Bye. And oh, you're a virgin? Let's have sex again. I don't know. It just, yeah, the
right. All of the sex in there was just very, very unemotional. No, you could have gave me a little more, but okay.
Okay, thank you. And it's not like look, back in the
even
day,
Montrose's scene. I mean, I get the psychology behind it, but also, like, do you think we just do it like animals for real? No, come on now.
Oh, when the gay scene?
Correct. It was all just so it wasn't. There was no emotion in any of those scenes.
I wasn't expecting that at all. Like they didn't have any internal conflict or turmoil to suggest that he was even leaning that way in the first place. He just walked in and started having sex with the man. I was like, oh, I thought he was going over there for some information, but he was okay. Like, it just came out of nowhere. And then again, I expressed my dislike with the portrayal all the way back at the beginning of this live stream. But yeah, it is what it is. There was so much potential to do better with this show, and they wasted it.
But I did like Grandma coming back to get her revenge. So there's that too.
I like that too. Go ahead, Grandma, get down. Hold that white
Okay,
man down.
that's it. I'm stepping on down. That's all I had to say. I'll leave you with back muscles.
All right, back muscles. And I'll leave you guys before ending the live stream with this. One of my favorite. I don't know if you guys have seen this before. Here, let me play a little bit of it real quick.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oops. Amazing acting from Tyrese. He should have been Atticus. He would have made with a performance like that. He would have made such a good Atticus. With that being said, thank you everybody for watching. My name is Prince Petti. This has been Man with a Mic movie review. We will be doing Sandman next week, so make sure to do your homework next Sunday. Thank you and good night.